Recording in progress. Welcome back, guys. Legacy Leadership Series. We are back at you for another round of what's Aaron and Des up to today? Where's Waldo? But we are talking about a topic that, well, it's interesting as it's coming up at the end of the year and as we go into the new year, but it's about missing out on accelerated impact by not co-creating. So co-creation is something obviously Des and I have been at for quite some time. And I think it goes deeper. We were just in discussion about this before recording, but it goes deeper about what rooms are you choosing to be in that are supporting your growth versus rooms that you feel like you have to be in that aren't actually benefiting you.
Mm, so true. Before we started recording, we were talking about the bandwidth, right?
Mhm.
Like it takes like a certain amount of bandwidth to run a company, period. Like it in itself is its own beast, right? It's like people I don't really know. And we were talking about like maybe having people following us from behind the scenes because people don't really understand or quite get all the time what it takes to be able to do this. The discipline of getting on the calls and getting the leads and scheduling the calls and then converting those calls and coming up with all the programs and all the things that are included just in the company by itself.
Mhm.
But then, we're born to create and you're running the house, you're running your marriage, you're running the company, you're running teams, right? You're running your legacy.
Mhm.
And you get like this sense of like all the things that it takes, and you meet all these beautiful amazing people along the way doing all these incredible things. And like I think it's just natural for us to just really start creating like in our mind, in our head, and thinking about different things. And I think people have this false idea of what co-creation can do
Yeah.
as far as the benefits of co-creation, because like we said before we started pressing record, that co-creation can be so beautiful in so many ways. And if you're not doing co-creation, you're missing out on a lot of benefits that can happen, because co-creation has a lot of really good benefits, such as accelerating your impact
Mhm.
at a speed that is times two, right? Or however many you have in your co-creation. Um, it's just, I think we go to I think what happens with women is sometimes they think about all the things and all the steps, and it's just another room, and it's just another thing to do. But realistically, when it's right and it's on purpose and it's aligned and divine, it actually eliminates a lot of those things, like our story, where we really started co-creating recently, but it took a while before we got to that point because of the bandwidth of making that decision, because what a critical decision it is.
Well, yeah, and I know, I've stepped into rooms, virtually and in person that may have not been the best suited for me at that season of my life, thinking that, okay, I want to be a part of this group. And I always tell my clients that it's value added, value received in anything we do, right? It's a figure eight. And when there's a cog and when there's a clog in something and it's not like moving, we got to reevaluate. And there's been, jobs or things I've been a part of that I'm like, this feels like I'm adding more value than I'm receiving, or I'm receiving a ton and something feels off. I need to like readjust and add something here, like you can feel that inside of you. And I think when you are building relationships like we have over the last couple years, is developing a relationship and understanding that, like, is this somebody I want to create things with? Is this somebody when we go into a room together that I can lean on for my weaknesses and pull them up with my strengths? Right. And that's what we It's the room we step into when we get together just for creation mode before this meeting and talking about all the cool things we're doing inside our Legacy Leader membership. And then we say, okay, we're going to record on this topic today. And it is about that very thing of challenging our bandwidth to say we can't do it all, reminding each other you can't do it all, and then saying like what is it that our focus is and creating it together. I think a lot of it comes down to shared values, which we were talking about. Um, and so it's not just about, oh, I have this mission to succeed at this thing. It's does this person also have the same values that can amplify that, you know? And so when you're working together on such really deep things, we have to have trust and we have to be able to share values. That's huge.
Yeah, because I love that it said it's not just based off of an agreement, right? Because we can all agree on things very easily, but it has to be aligned. That's completely a different situation. I think agreeing is very easy. We can all agree on a lot of different things. But having that alignment, that true alignment, and understanding the shared values piece of this, because it just eliminates that tension that can form from different things that happen when you're not in the same, when we're not valuing the same things, right? The structure of how we really value our family, our life, our business, our children, our mission,
Mhm.
our legacy.
Yeah.
Those kind of like when you see it in the stars and then it all lines up, it's magic, right? And so that's kind of, I love that because agreeing is just the easiest version of that, but aligning is where that true depth, that not surface level stuff that happens in business circles. Um, I think that's why co-creation is beautiful because you get to really truly have deeper connection, deeper relationships with the clients that you serve, plus within the partnership. So it's really great.
Yeah. And you know, just to tap into that, most women aren't necessarily failing or not succeeding, right? I think a lot of us at this time of year, especially when we're looking back and reflecting on the year and ready to sort of project out, okay, what am I doing in 2026 to really amplify my impact, to amplify my business, what I'm doing, success, all of that. We're a lot of times we look at that gap versus the gain, right? Like we're looking at the things we didn't necessarily do versus the things we actually did. That's a whole nother topic, but we can often say, oh my God, I failed at this area, where you're not failing because you're not capable. You might actually be in rooms and in situations and in groups and things of that nature that aren't actually reflecting back to you the power that you have to grow and to evolve. And so that is something that you and I are really creating every single time we get together weekly. We sit and we talk about how can we amplify each other's impact? How can we amplify this group? Because we have remarkable women coming into this group that we really want to serve and receive from, right? Value added, value
Mhm.
received. You know, we want to serve at our highest capacity, but also we know these women, we're vetting them. We're having conversations. It's not just a, oh, cool, pay us and you're in this group. It's not
Mhm.
like that. It is a let's have a conversation. Let's have a Zoom call, the three of us, get to know this person. Great. They share our values. They're in alignment of what we're looking for as leaders and leaving legacy, and they get invited in. So it is a process. We're not just like throwing this together, which I think there's a lot of rooms out there that you can do that. But is it adding you value to reflect back the actual power you hold and then of the collective? So, I think it's just a cool conversation, that co-creation is so impactful, but in the right way.
And I think like it's important for you to think about like is this the area that you're lacking in? Like so for me when I think about collabing with someone and I think about co-creation, I think about what I gain. I think sometimes people like automatically go to like, oh, you have to work with someone and then what if it ruins the friendship and then I have to give them half and is it going to be worth it and all the things that come along with that fear-based thinking. And instead of that, to me, like I look at, I'm hungry for what are the rooms that create an environment where we're discussing and we're really wanting to lean into the idea of co-creation, the idea of collaborating, the idea of taking half the work and splitting it with someone that you believe has that aligned, value. It's half the work and it's someone that holds you accountable, somebody that you grow deeper with, and it's accelerated impact. So to me, it's like I want to get into those rooms. And what I've noticed is that there's not a real lot of this happening. There's not a real lot of where we're in rooms where the collaboration is super thick and super deep. It's not, it's more like you get into rooms and it's very hierarchy feeling. And this is more of like a collective, right? So there obviously is rooms that do have that, but I think with ours, the legacy leaders, I think that's really like where it shines the most because we want people to connect, we want people to collaborate, we want people to do co-creation if it feels right, if it feels aligned, if it's that person that that you could really have that twice as amount of impact and twice the amount of accountability. This is what we're trying to have as a base, right? This would be the home base right here in Legacy Leaders. So I'm excited about just having the opportunity to create the space together where we're doing this together to show other women that it's something that you should really consider going into year of 2026 if it's not something that's part of your life right now in 2025.
Yeah. What rooms are going to add value that you can also amplify when you step into it? Because that is, you know, stepping into a room and getting value, of course, that's the purpose, right? Like, why am I signing up for something if I'm not going to get something from it necessarily, right? Like, of course, we always want that to be purposeful, but it's also how is this leaving a lasting impact, a legacy for me, and for the collective. And one thing that we were talking about is how our dreams and our legacy often will fizzle out or die if we're not being held to the standard of the woman that we are capable of becoming. And I think there are times we get on calls and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do that part. Or like, oh yeah, right? Like, and same, like I'll be like, oh, did you do this part? Or what are we doing here? Right. And it's not that we're accusatory or like, oh my gosh, we have these tasks that we didn't complete and this and that. It's more of, no, we're holding each other to a high standard because we value and respect each other at that standard. Like, I'm not going to let you fail. You're not going to let me fail because if we both are succeeding, then the collective succeeds. And if the
Mhm.
collective succeeds, then we're succeeding. So it's that value added, value received. So I think there's so much to talk about in this piece, but effectively, if you are in a season where you're feeling like you've added so much value into things and haven't really received it, take stock in what rooms you're in and the the people collectively that are energetically aligned or not, and maybe reevaluate where we're putting that energy. Because I know I have said no to many offers in many rooms in this last year that I probably could have been involved in that may have yielded me certain success and money, but it just didn't feel aligned to me. The values were not right. The values were not that they weren't right, but they weren't aligned with me. And so I had to step away from those things. And when I stepped away, it led me to other opportunities. And so don't
Mhm.
fear that, taking chances and being involved in things that are feeling more a pull towards, don't fear that because it's just lessons and just learning.
And I hear bandwidth frequently because like we were saying in the beginning, women are just making so many decisions all the time. We know women are just incredible and we're just supernatural. We have these superpowers of doing it all. And so often sometimes it feels like, well, I just don't want to add anything else to the
Yeah.
plate. And it's like what I always say when it comes down to this is, get rid of the stuff that's good to make room for the stuff that's great. And that's really important to kind of take a look at because it's so true. Like there's so much good out there. There's so many good people. There's so many good conversations. There's so many good partnerships. But then if you fill it all with good, you don't have that time for the great. And the great is what will be the best for the bandwidth because then we're not so worn out from all the good.
Yeah.
And that we have the more energy and the more alignment and the more intentional responsibility of the great, right? Being able to say, you know what? I need to get rid of some of the good of my schedule because I have to sign up for the one group that's going to be great for my next move,
Yeah.
for that next co-creation, for that next where I'm receiving as much as I'm taking group, right? Um, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that so much because it's so true, right?
Yeah. It's a cycle, but I think sort of to end this off, legacy, which is what we're purposefully building here, for our families, for each other. It's it's not built in isolation. We're talking about this, right? Like building a family, having a lineage. We need a partner for that. Building our businesses. Yes, we can be solopreneurs, but we need clients. We need, people
Team
that,
members.
yeah, teams. Like we need people, even if it's a two-man show or a one-man show, and you still need clients, you still need people that believe and trust in your work to show up and be in it with you, like if you're of service, that they're going to trust in you. And so, what we're doing is a perfect example of that. We're putting trust in each other every day, and then we're doing our own life things, right? But we're not doing it in isolation. It's built in community, it's built in collaboration, and every single woman that steps into this work with us, becomes a part of that story. And I think that's really cool. We become a part of their story and they become a part of ours. And that's really magical. I mean, there are people that are coming into this room with us that Des is not really known and they've been in my world and vice versa, and we're sharing those stories and those people with each other. And that just, that's the true legacy of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Right. Can you imagine um just doing this all alone?
No,
No, I could never. I could never imagine. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want
no,
to.
no.
I feel like that's the one-way path to burnout for sure.
Yeah. And not
And
because
so
we're not capable, right? Like we both run groups. You're running Warrior Women right now. I'm running the Unbox Mastermind, right? Like we both run groups on our own
mhm, we just don't want to.
and we're doing great work with
I
those.
would not want to do it by myself. Mm-mm.
This is a whole nother room that is amplifying some of those women that are in both of those into this and women that are coming from other areas of our world because they're supposed to. There's an alignment there. And no, there isn't. I wouldn't want to run Legacy Leaders alone. I feel like
No.
there's a deeper purpose to running it as a group.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't feel good, right? And that's kind of what happens when people are trying to do one man show kind of minion stuff. It's like, well, it only feels good for temporary, but then that burns out. So, um, I think that co-creation is something that really there's this idea that it's too much of a risk and it's too much work and it's not enough gain. And I want to just tell you, ladies, right now, I want to call to action to all the ladies out here watching this right now. You do not need to be a one-man show. Um, get teams, get people in your life, get the right community. It changes your life. Period. It's changed my life in every single way with friendships, my marriage, my home, my children, my business, all of them. And I know Erin could say the same. Community, the right community is huge, and co-creation is one of the biggest flexes going into the new year because it really benefits you in all ways, and it helps you not burn out.
Yeah.
And we really want to talk about that, right? That's a big thing. Is it's not a flex to be burnt out. And it's definitely not a flex to be a burnt out leader.
No.
So, co-creation is something that we want to really encourage and is a huge piece to legacy leaders. So, if you're looking for a community, the right community, if this feels aligned to you, if these conversations so far in any of the podcasts have really been hitting you and saying, wow, I don't have friends like this that talk about like stuff like this, or feel like I'm part of something that I could contribute to, and also have that reflection back to me of my power and the room, really consider co-creation, really consider legacy leaders.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, with us. And let us know what other topics we come on, because there are topics that come up for us that we are working through inside of Legacy Leaders membership. And so we want to bring a snippet of that to the world. And we're going to be having, come January, our Legacy Leaders
Yes.
women that are inside of our mastermind, well, our exclusive group. And we do, monthly calls, and we're going to be having them pop on the podcast and having them be interviewed by us about why they're involved in Legacy Leaders and what it means to them and what they're doing in this world to lead it and leave a lasting impact of their own legacy. So I'm really excited to bring those ladies on and let you guys meet them. But so stay tuned for January. But until then, let us know what other topics of conversation that, as leading women in this world, leaving a lasting impact, that you really want to hear more about. And we'll dive in
Yeah, we're here for it.
for it. All right, guys, go light it
Have a
up.
wonderful week. Legacy leaders.